Hey kids. So I recently put in a water system on board on the Jeep, and um, I figured that the water tank was pretty much no bigger than a winch that would go in the same location. Um, I also recently put in the lowest temperature thermostat that was available for the Jeep, which is 169 degrees. Anyway, after I put in the water system, I noticed that even though the thermostat is basically at 170, the engine, after I put in the tank, started running at about 210. And so that made me realize that what was happening is some air blockage. And so I started doing a little bit of research, and I found out that just about everybody who puts a winch or anything on the front of the Jeep, because of their limited airflow and the limited size of the radiator to begin with, have heating issues. And so there's all these companies that make fancy heat reduction hoods like this and this. There's also installable hood vents that you can buy and cut holes in your hood like this and this. And then there's the do-it-yourselfers who are just cutting holes in their hoods and creating their own hood vents like this and this. Some are adding electric fans, and some are actually doing some pretty nice work. I don't know how they punched the holes in this one. And then I found a fella on YouTube who made some pretty decent looking budget hood vents out of trailer light grommets. Really turned out, looks really good. I like them. So basically he took trailer light grommets, cut holes in his Jeep, then took gutter guard for your rain gutters on the house and put that on the inside, and then glued the trailer grommets on the outside of the Jeep, and then bolted through the Jeep the gutter guard. Well, I kind of liked the way that looked, so I started giving it a think, and I found these groovy trailer light grommets that were chrome, plastic chrome, off the eBay. And as you can see, they kind of have a little, like a ball cap, little shade over the top of them. Well, I like that for when, the Jeep's parked, just to kind of give a little bit of weather protection, rain protection, right? When you're running, it doesn't matter, because the airflow is going to be blasting out of there, so you're not going to get water in it where I'm going to put it when you're cruising. But when it's parked, I don't want, when sideways rain's blowing, to just blow in. I know the engine compartment's made to handle water. Yes, it's a Jeep. Hell, I got a snorkel on it. I can go scuba diving with the damn thing. That's not the point. The point is where I'm going to be putting it. One of the vents is going to be right over the battery, and one of the vents will not. So what I did was I cleaned them off real good, and I shot them black. All right, so I have this really nice metal grate that I picked up for a different project, and that's what I'm going to use for the back side. So I'm going to take my now black painted heat vents, and I'm going to trace around it, and then I'm going to cut just on the inside of my tracing. Just so happens that amazingly there's 4 exact holes, or 3 holes, sorry, that are exactly in the right spot for the screw holes. So I'm going to cut 2 of those out. And if you're real smart, you won't be impatient like me, and you'll wait till your paint's dry so you don't end up with permanent fingerprints. I'm going to go give this another layer of black. So of course now comes the scary part, and that's cutting holes in the Jeep. So here we go. Alright, so here are the tools that I'm going to use to cut the hole in the Jeep. I'm going to use a hole saw to cut the sides out, and then I'm going to use my air saw, and I'm going to use a brand new blade on each side so that I get nice clean cuts in between the two. So I'm also going to use oil to lubricate the blades as I'm going through the metal. And the next step, of course, is going out to the Jeep and finding the center point where I'm going to punch the metal for the drill bit so that it goes in straight and true right where it's supposed to go. So this is how I'm going to do that. Got a nice flat piece of cardboard, and I'm going to cut out a round template. Alright, so I've got it marked out where I'm going to cut the hole, right? And instead of going through my high school geometry and etc., and finding the center of a hole and then using a compass to measure, dude, just cut yourself a little cardboard template, lay it on, stick your Sharpie through the hole, that'll be your spot. Done. Alright, so before we get started, let's look at some details. First of all, make absolutely sure where it is that you want your vent to go. Measure 17 times, and then measure another 17 times. Look at this. There's proof that measuring multiple times makes it right. So my whole markage is definitely now right where I want it, and I know which one not to follow. Second thing you want to make sure when you're cutting, you can take the hood off, of course, or you can get yourself a towel and cover up where all your little shavings are going to go, so that you're not putting a whole bunch of shavings inside the engine compartment. And then, of course, you want to make sure that your blade isn't going to come in contact with anything on either side, wherever you're going to cut. And then you do your cutting. So I use my little template to mark my center holes. I'm going to take my tape measure, and I'm going to make sure that those are equidistant from the top. From the top, the bottom, and the side. All the way around. So I've punched right where I want to start, and I'm going to start with a pilot hole that's a slightly smaller diameter than the bit that's in the hole saw. Alright, so I have my pilot holes drilled. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut the hole with the hole saw. No turning back now. It's one. Always remember to oil your air tools every use. That's how you get years of service from them. Okay, fresh blade for side 2. Alright, now I'm going to clean up the metal, smooth it off, and then I will paint it. put some paint on the raw metals so that doesn't happen. That's not me, but I'll fix it. You bet I will. There you go. I put 2 coats on the raw metal, Rust-Oleum. So right now the screen grills and the bezels are drying. I'm gonna let them dry overnight, and tomorrow I will put them on, and that'll be it. All right, there you have it. That's my version of hood vents on a budget. I actually think they turned out looking pretty darn sweet. Let's close the hood and give it a look. There it is. I wound up drilling a 4th hole bottom, and of course I painted the screw heads. Those are my hood vents. And that, kids, is my version of budget custom hood vents. Hope you enjoyed it. Love you.